Hello everyone, welcome to Harsh IT Lab, Harsh Verma this side, and welcome to a new video regarding the same book, Network Warrior. And our topic for the day is config sync and rollback. And those who don't know about the book Network Warrior, this is it. So, this is a book regarding the practical applications of network engineering studies or academics that we learn during our CCNA preparation. Actually, this book covers more from the CCNA preparation and the practical lessons that will be used going in our real life. So, it will help to fine tune our troubleshooting steps, etc. So, what we are going to do is which I have prepared on my phone and SSH into it, which I have already done it, and our topic for the day will be config sync. So without any wasting time, let's jump straight into the topic. Works like Nexus switches are paired together over the management zero interface. The configuration commands are load one of the switch, and when the commit command is executed, the commands are simultaneously entered into both switches. So basically config sync is a reply or an answer due to the breaking of config in the virtual port channel. So when we change some configurations into port channel switches, one of the switches that participates in a port channel, uh, just after right after the change, what it will do, it will break the port channel state and our network go into haywire. So config sync provides a buffer so we can store the upcoming commands or challenges into that buffer and it will apply on the both switches simultaneously. But the answer is not as straightforward as it sounds. So it has a catch and we are going to cover few of the catches over here. So config sync works only for the VPC and FAX command. So it is our first catch. Virtual port channel and fabric extender commands can be used with config sync, but not any Ethernet commands or the Ethernet etc. commands. To keep in mind that synchronized configurations does not populate the running config on the peer switches directly, but are stored on a separate profile which can be viewed or managed using the configure sync command. So it's not a one-to-one application as it sounds like. It is a separate buffer and has a separate profile of its own. Now, when working with config sync, if you want to import existing configuration from the running config, you must disable the sync peer. And if you do not, the config will never verify and you will not be able to commit it. So it's kind of a latch and detach scenario. So in order to get it updated, we have to detach it from the running config. So first, please allow me a few seconds so I can read this particular line once again. So when working with config sync, you want to import existing configurations from the running config, you must disable the sync peer. So sync peer is something that need to be disabled here. And if you do not, the config will never verify and you will never able to commit it. So we also learned that in order to commit a synchronized configuration, we have to first verify it. Okay, and line 822 says that we can check the sync buffer for profile using show switch profile name buffer. So profile name would be filler space. I don't know why I not mentioned the arrows. So please allow me a second so I can do it as soon as possible. Hi. So I have done it. So switch profile, which will be entered here, then profile name, which also will be entered here, and buffer. This execution of this command will enable us to check the sync buffer for that particular profile. Now, to make changes, we can delete line in the buffer using the buffer delete and the line number. And this is how we can manage the configurations, which is right now in the detached state. Now there are two forms of verification check. The first is mutual exclusion and the second is merge check. And what are these? The mutual exclusion ensures that the configuration entered in the sync mode does not exist in the running config. So it just verifies that whether the changes that is going to be applied is or not already been applied. And second, merge check compares the switch profile of its switch profile of with its peers, and if the conflict is found, it need to be fixed manually. So it's not an automated process. If there is conflict in the synchronization, as a network engineer, we have to manually find out the conflicts and erase it. Now, the configuration we have entered exists in config syncs database. So it's a separate database. And you can see what is inside this database by using the show running config switch profile command. And be aware that do not delete the half hidden switch profile commands found in running config. So basically, this says that when we run the command show running config, it will list all the running configurations of the switch. So it has a half mentioned that there is something called switch profile here, or the name of the switch profile here, but it does not show the content. The show running command does not show the content of the switch profile. So normally we network engineer used to keep the networking things minimalist in order to have um, clear is we are going to access. But in that scenario, if we forgetfully or mistakenly delete that, then scenarios will also be deleted, and it will create a havoc in the network. So keep that in mind. And now, sync peer destination and destination IP address command help us to sync our local database with the remote defined by IP and add peers. So basically, it's a methodology to sync our local database with the peer. So sync can be done or completed. And this is all for sync config that I found useful. But in order to understand it better, you must chat GPT it, search Google documentation for it, its RFCs, its Cisco proper documentation, etc. at your own peace and convenience. Okay, now we will jump to the next topic, which is rollback. And rollback, iOS employs an additive CLI. What an additive CLI? A command line interface when everything will be added to the previous iterations. Basically, it's kind of an append. That means the commands are always added on top of what's there. Hence, the only way to clear the config is used a write erase command, reload command, and somehow enter the new configuration. Okay, now NXOS, which is a advanced or a new operating system by Cisco, provides an ability to set up the checkpoints to restore the running config to the previously set checkpoint. And checkpoint, I guess you must have played few games, even on the Nokia N95 games. There used to be some checkpoints or a star where you, when you cross that Angkor Wat reference or the bouncy ball reference, that when you cross that point, even if you fail, the game will be resumed from that point. It's kind of like that. And the following commands are a lifesaver in case of creating and restoring the checkpoints. So basically, this command will show you how to create such checkpoints. First is checkpoint with a name, its description with a description. Okay, and now we actually have to roll back using the following command: rollback, running config, checkpoint, and the name of the checkpoint. And show checkpoint summary will list out all the checkpoints in a summarized manner, while show checkpoint with a particular checkpoint name will list all its content, or what checkpoints or what configurations does a checkpoint has up to. And finally, we have actually a copy of the command rollback running config, checkpoint, and checkpoint name, which will roll back the config to that information. And we have covered these two topics. I know there's a very much a lot to cover about this video, and I will continue making the video as soon as I have the new information regarding it, because it's a lifelong process. It's a running journey. And thank you for watching, and thank you for joining.